What we've witnessed President Trump accomplish over the last few days has been nothing short of remarkable. We are now 3.5 years into the war between Russia and Ukraine, a brutal conflict that has claimed hundreds of thousands of Russian and Ukrainian lives and cost trillions of dollars. The weakness and incompetence of Joe Biden foolishly allowed the killing to start in the first place.
At 03:47 local time on June 26, 2025, a Russian S-400 radar dish sweeps the Crimean sky with enough electromagnetic energy to cook a turkey at 10 kilometers. The beam cuts invisible lines across the night air, an unseen net meant to capture any object daring to fly above Ukrainian soil. For 3 years, this system has stood as one of Russia's proudest defensive assets in Crimea, an electronic sentinel that could track aircraft, missiles, and drones long before they neared the peninsula. Its massive array, perched like a metal crown, is both intimidating and fragile. Few in the Russian military imagined that, on this night, the most advanced air defense system they had deployed in Western Crimea would become a smoldering ruin. In 15 minutes, 17 Ukrainian Bradleys will turn that same radar and the entire S-400 battery into a $500 million paperweight. This is not a poetic exaggeration, but cold battlefield calculation. Western-supplied infantry fighting vehicles, driven by Ukrainian crews hardened from 2 years of relentless combat, now have the task of bringing down what Moscow believed to be impregnable. The lead Bradley tank you see here has been active for over 2 hours at this point, burning through fuel at 12 liters per kilometer. Its engine, a roaring beast under armored plates, has been pushed to the limit. At current consumption, that gives it 19 minutes to find the target, 2 minutes to destroy it, and 2 minutes in case it messes up. The math is tight, and the margin for error is 0. The formation spreads across a 3-kilometer front at exactly 50 meters altitude. Their movement is like a blade cutting through the night, coordinated with precision that was unthinkable for Ukraine in the early days of the war. The M2A2 Bradley infantry fighting vehicle has proven indispensable for the Ukrainian armed forces in the conflict against Russia. Since its first deployment, the Bradley Hart-Dewhutz has played a crucial role in numerous successful operations. To many Ukrainian soldiers, these vehicles are more than machines. They are lifelines, carrying them into firestorms and pulling them out again. The Bradley infantry fighting vehicle has repeatedly proven its durability on the battlefield. For example, after a direct hit from a Russian anti-tank missile, the Bradley remained operational. Imagine the shock on both sides. Russian operators expecting a kill, Ukrainian troops bracing for death, only for the machine to grind forward, wounded but alive. Another example. Despite a devastating explosion, the vehicle remained operational and was able to successfully withdraw from the combat zone, saving the lives of its crew. Stories like these circulate among soldiers, becoming legends that inspire trust in the armor that carries them. This time, a Russian anti-tank missile hit the Bradley's turret during a personnel rotation near the settlement of Nadezhdinka, southwest of Pikrasovsk. However, the vehicle survived the attack, continued its journey, and successfully left the danger zone. The Bradley has repeatedly demonstrated its combat effectiveness and provided vital protection to the Ukrainian armed forces. The vehicle is designed for battlefield protection and features composite armor and a range of advanced survivability mechanisms that increase crew safety even in the event of direct hits from enemy weapon systems. While the extent of the Bradley's battle damage remains unclear, its ability to remain mobile after an ATGM hit underscores its resilience. The vehicle's ability to evacuate crews from high-risk areas underscores its role in improving the survival chances of troops on the front lines. Since the beginning of 2023, Ukraine has received dozens of Bradley infantry fighting vehicles to reinforce its ground forces as part of a Western military aid package. These vehicles were used in frontline operations, particularly in contested areas where their combination of firepower, mobility, and protection provided a tactical advantage. Their ability to transport infantry while simultaneously attacking enemy positions has made them a crucial component of the Ukrainian counter-offensive. The Bradley has demonstrated exceptional survivability in the current battle. Despite frequent deployments to the front, he returned safely. This time, Russia is trying to conquer the remaining territory in eastern Ukraine and is sending armored personnel carriers and infantry into the offensive. The situation near Pikrasovt is currently deteriorating with the renewed Russian advance to the east. However, the Bradleys are already awaiting their arrival. In another case, a Ukrainian Bradley of the 47th Mechanized brigade managed to disable a Russian T-90M tank at close range using its cannon alone. In addition, a Bradley successfully destroyed a Russian T-72 tank using an anti-tank missile. The Bradley infantry fighting vehicle, currently in service with the Ukrainian armed forces, can be considered one of the best. The Ukrainian military is receiving increasingly positive feedback on this vehicle. The vehicle is also equipped with a coaxial M240C 7.62mm machine gun for close quarters defense and additional firepower against infantry and light vehicles. This weapon combination allows the Bradley to be used effectively against a variety of targets in different combat scenarios. The Bradley offers robust defensive capabilities to protect its infantry crew and passengers. In this case, Russia fired an ATGM missile at the Bradley. But what happened? Yes, the Bradley remains viable as usual. The vehicle's armor is designed to withstand small arms fire, artillery shell fragments, and anti-tank weapons. The multi-layer armor provides additional resistance against shaped charges and kinetic energy penetrators. In addition, the Bradley has an NBC protection system that increases the crew's chances of survival in contaminated environments. The vehicle is also equipped with smoke grenade launchers to obscure the battlefield and reduce the effectiveness of enemy targeting systems. These protective measures ensure that the Bradley can operate effectively even in highly hazardous environments while minimizing losses. At 0448 and 22 seconds, two sides hit the northern Big Bird simultaneously. The warhead punches through 20mm of armor plate and detonates inside the magazine. The 48 N6E missiles, solid propellant stable under normal conditions, becomes unstable when exposed to detonation shock. It ignites. Solid rocket propellant burns at 2,800 degrees Celsius. The missile tube, designed to channel thrust downward during launch, now channels it upward. The pressure spike hits 300 atmospheres in 0.3 seconds. The tube ruptures, burning propellant sprays across missile 2 and 4. They ignite. In 1.3 seconds, 1,200 kilojoules of propellant converts 3 missiles worth 4.5 million into the world's most expensive fireworks show. At 0449 and 10 seconds, the last 3 beavers converge on the tow. Southern Big Bird radar. 3 impacts, 3 detonations, 1 result. The radar, already damaged by shrapnel from the burning launcher, takes 60 kilos of high explosives in rapid sequence. It doesn't collapse, it disintegrates. Fragments rain down across a 200mm radius. At 0450 and 35 seconds, the Su-35S fighters arrive. The flight leader radar shows no returns for the S-400 battery. The radars that would normally guide them are burning wreckage. Visual contact reveals the full catastrophe. 4 distinct fire sources. Black smoke columns rise 500 meters. Secondary explosions are still cooking off. A pilot circles once, confirming what their sensors already show. The S-400 battery that protected Western Crimea for 3 years was completely destroyed in just over 3 minutes. Drones built in a basement powered by lawnmower engines and guided by smartphone processors, have proven that in modern warfare, ingenuity is the great equalizer. The scene encapsulates the essence of Ukraine's struggle: improvisation against superiority, creativity against brute force. In the hands of a determined defender, even garage-made tools can strike down a giant of military engineering. But the battle is not merely about machines. It is about morale, about proving that the Russian myth of invulnerability can be shattered. For Ukrainian forces, this victory serves as both a tactical triumph and a psychological earthquake. For Russia, it is a humiliation, a reminder that no fortress is unbreakable. The destruction of the S-400 in Crimea sends ripples across the front lines. Commanders on both sides rethink strategies, while civilians far from the battlefield sense a shift in momentum. It is no longer a war of sheer attrition. It is a contest of minds, adaptation, and endurance. And so the night sky over Crimea glows not with Russian radar, but with the fiery remains of what once was considered untouchable. The story of the Bradleys and the improvised drones is more than just another episode of the war. It is a lesson in resilience, a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, ingenuity and determination can rewrite the battlefield.